Exodus from the Pale Seaside story is set in Iberia, though the game never explicitly tells us when this event takes place. But if we consider Thorns' first appearance in the year 1097 during the Heart of Surging Flame event, then consider his altar combat experience. We can safely assume this event story happens in the year 1101, 3 years after the events in Chapter 14 of the game's main story. The story starts with us seeing Isidro, better known by us as Thorns, held captive by pirates in the area known as the Pale Sea, a vast salt flat strewn by bleached bones. He has been here at least for a week, with no one but a strange saltfin to talk to. But he will escape this place soon. Using a really hard bread that the pirate gave him to eat, he uses it as a makeshift shovel to dig his way out of this place. Now he is out of the shed, but he still needs to get out from this pirate base. On his way out, he sees some of the pirates gathering, and we are also introduced to some of the named pirates, Teach, Javier, and Rus. It seems life isn't exactly flourishing for these pirates. As Javier said, they lack materials like metals to make repairs and have to use stuff like shell and bone. And now, there's another problem. Their leader, Hana, wanted to lead the crew out from the salt flat to the sea. But some of the crew, notably Rus, is against the idea. They believe Hana is going to send the crew to their watery grave, because other than Hana, there's hardly anyone left who has witnessed the ocean, much less who knows how to navigate a ship in the Big Blue. And now that Hana has even bought some expensive supplies just to go to the sea, Rus wants Javier to persuade Hana to cancel this whole trip, considering Javier is pretty much Hana's adoptive son. But Javier believes in Hana. He said while she indeed always took a big risk like this, it always ended up in their favor. His devotion to Hana is further cemented when a pirate named Chesk makes a ruckus about Hana's plan, calling her a mad woman and accusing her of toying with the crew. Furious, Javier beats the shit out of him, until Teach and Rus manage to calm things down. After that whole ruckus, the crowd disperse, which gives Thorns a chance to leave this pirate base. He still needs to walk past 2 guards though. Luckily for him, they are getting freaky. But he didn't go far. The pirate captain, Hana, is already waiting for him with her giant helm wheel as a weapon. Turns out that Saltfin is actually Hana's pet called Nene, and apparently La Criatura has been tasked to secretly watch over Thorns. Then Thorns tries to fight for his freedom, but without his sword, he got beaten easily and was taken back to the base. Sometime later, we see Hana and Javier. Turns out Javier is also questioning Hana's plan, but Hana assures him that this is for the best. The salt flat won't be able to sustain the whole crew forever. On the other hand, the sea is abundant, and where all the riches of the golden age of Iberia lie. It once belonged to them before the profound silence, and she will make sure it belonged to them once again. Here we also know the reason why they captured Thorns. Hana has obtained some sort of compass, a relic from the Golden Age, that points to the bearer's deepest desires. Hana said this will help them navigate the sea, avoiding the sea monster and leading them towards what they want. But sadly, the compass is broken, and because of the complex substance inside it called corazonix, it can only be repaired by a skilled alchemist, and Hana knew Thorns happened to be one. Thanks to the gold coin he owns, a mark of a long-lost school of alchemy that was supposedly given from a mentor to their disciple. But Thorns keeps denying he's an alchemist and refuses to help the pirates. And talking about Thorns, after his failed escape attempt, Thorns is being hanged upside down in the middle of the pirates' base. Upon closer look, this place looks more like a small town than your typical pirate base, and from some conversation, we know that most, if not all people who lived here, are the descendants of the original crew who once sailed with Hana to the sea before the profound silence that devastated Iberia, and eventually forces Hana's crew to stay in this salt flat. Shortly, Thorns is approached by a girl named Pasquala, the source of all of his predicament. In the next part of the story, we learn more about how Thorns ended up in this place. About 2 weeks ago, Thorns arrived at the Pale Sea. He came all the way to this place just to learn a sword technique created by pirates. But just a short moment after Thorns arrived at the salt flat, a giant saltfin suddenly came out from beneath the ground, sending him flying, then knocking him out, and he is now half buried in the salt. Shortly, we see that girl Pasquala nearby. She had stolen a forbidden relic, that compass from before, from the Inquisition hands, and is now being chased by one of its members. She stumbled upon Thorns. Mistaking him for a corpse, she looted his belongings. And one of the items she took was his gold coin. She remembers that Hana once told her she was looking for someone with this very coin. But not long after, the Inquisition member who was chasing Pasquala manages to catch up. He is Anastasio, but very different from his colleagues. He is known for his maniacal personality, an appearance that is far from being called solemn or graceful. As he is about to execute Pasquala, Thorns wakes up just in time and manages to block his swing. Anastasio explains that the one Thorns trying to protect is a criminal, and he also points out that she had looted all of Thorns' belongings. Thorns then checks his belongings, which is indeed all gone, but he also found that compass in his pocket, apparently planted by Pasquala. At this point, Anastasio is still pretty chill, and willing to let Thorns go if he simply hands over the compass and walks away. But Thorns just have to say out loud that he recognizes this compass and the alchemical substance inside it. Hearing that, Anastasio points his weapons towards Thorns, because alchemy is a forbidden knowledge in Iberia, especially since this compass is affiliated with Aulus, a wanted criminal in Iberia. That Church of the Deep guy you probably have seen in the Hortus de Escapismo side story. Resisting arrest, Thorns and Anastasio clash, but Anastasio beats Thorns and even destroys his sword. Luckily, Pasquala manages to distract Anastasio, giving Thorns a chance to step away from Anastasio's reach. Then, sensing the same giant salt fin is approaching from beneath the ground, he manages to dive away, but Anastasio was sent flying straight to a salt fin skeleton nearby, impaling him. Believing he's dead, Thorns and Pasquala can finally talk. Despite she's the source of his trouble, Thorns is willing to help her get to her destination. Pasquala said she's heading to the town of
Aaron,
but they will run out of food and water before reaching that town. Luckily, Thorns got a bright idea to ride a salt fin and reach the town in just half a day. We later see them in Aaron, a desolate town surrounded by salt flat. Thorns and Pasquala part ways. Pasquala is meeting with a pirate agent, who turns out to be Teach. Pasquala told her that not only she got the compass, but also the alchemist. Meanwhile, Thorns is asking around the town about the sword technique he was looking for. He finally found a clue after talking to a homeless man. The homeless man said that the guy who knows about this sword technique already passed away. Without any sort of disciple, the only way to know about this technique is probably from his diary that is buried alongside the guy. Then that night, Thorns chooses to do a pretty crazy thing. He exhumed the guy's grave, but still failed to find anything about the sword technique. And shortly, he was found and captured by Inquisition warrior priest stationed in town. The next morning, Thorns was sent to the gallows to be hanged, and surprisingly, Pasquala is also here because she got caught stealing. Here we also meet Silver, a qualificator from the Inquisition. I suppose you can think of him as a spiritual leader in this town, who is responsible of getting Aaron back to its feet and upholding law and orders, after the town dive into a chaos after the profound silence. Anyways, just before Thorns and Pasquala about to be executed, Teach and some other pirates came to rescue them. The warrior priest at the execution are outnumbered, and Thorns, Pasquala, and the pirates manages to escape to their ship. After a while, Thorns thanked the crew and wished to leave the ship, but after knowing he's possibly an alchemist, they captured him instead. Meanwhile, Aaron is in complete disaster after the pirates' attack. Their granary is burned down, many are injured, the town's only doctor is dead, and because there's no doctor, a woman died from childbirth, and the child also not survive. Then that night, we are surprised by Anastasio's appearance, who survived from his encounter with Thorns. He seeks out Silver and plans to take down the pirates together. Weeks later, Thorns is officially declared missing. So Weedy and Thorns' best pal Elysium went to look for him, and they are now at Erin, Thorns' last known location. Despite the recent incident, the town seems to be doing pretty okay now, especially after Anastasio's involvement. He and the other warriors managed to cut down a good number of Hana's crew. Weedy and Elysium then meet Silver and ask him if he knew anything about Thorns, and they are surprised when they learn about Thorns' alleged crimes and him being taken by the pirates to the Salt Flat. After hearing that, and despite the danger of the Salt Flat, Elysium ventures into the Salt Flat alone to search for his homie, while Weedy stays in the town for the time being. Meanwhile, the pirates are suffering heavy losses since Anastasio's involvement. So much so, they even ordered Thorns to help with their work, mainly salvaging for Golden Age relics to be traded with, which is an illegal thing to do. In one of the salvage expeditions, Rus is seen talking with Thorns. He persuaded Thorns to just agree, helping fix the compass, but purposefully failed to fix it. That way, not only will Hana back down from going to the sea, but she will also have no more reason to hold Thorns captive. Thorns then asks, why don't Rus tell Hana that some of the crew are against the plan? He said they don't want to be at odds with her. Half of the reason is because they respect her, but the other half is because they fear her, especially considering there's an old rumor saying Hana sacrifices some of her crew for strength and longevity. Later, the salvage team arrived at their destination, and Thorns is salvaging with Sesk. But not long after, there's a sudden earthquake. Sesk fell into a fissure, and one of his legs got wedged tight, leaving a bloody mess. Seeing an opportunity to escape from the pirates, Thorns decided to run away, but soon came back because of Sesk's desperate cries for help. His leg cannot be saved, so Thorns have to amputate it. Sometime later, the pirates' supplies, mainly food, dwindled, and considering the big amount of supplies they need before going to the sea, Hana decided to take a risk and lead her crew to hunt a massive saltfin to solve their supply problem. Thorns is also brought along to hunt this beast. At first, all seems well. The pirates manages to wound the beast severely, and it looks like it has run out of energy. However, it soon moved again, and just before it escapes from the pirates' reach, Hana jumps to that beast's back, but it dragged her straight to an area known as Skeletal Reef, a treacherous area filled by heat vents that can shatter a ship's hull and boil a man alive. Knowing how dangerous that place is, only some of the crew venture there and rescue Hana, notably Teach and Javier. But surprisingly, Thorns also decided to help, and with his alchemy equipment, they managed to avoid the steam burst and found Hana, still alive but seriously injured, although she hides her injury from her crew, saying that these are desperate times and she doesn't want to let morale go any lower. But victory doesn't last long. As the crew is about to go back to the base with the saltfin, they are ambushed by the Inquisition warriors led by Anastasio and Silver. After the exhausting hunt, the crew are in no shape to fight, so they must retreat and leave the saltfin behind so that it won't slow them down. However, Hana is unwilling to give up the saltfin just like that, so she confronts the warriors that are near the saltfin, including Silver. But she's still injured, even almost got herself killed. Luckily, Thorns came to her aid and forcefully took her back to the ship. Later that evening, things are looking pretty grim. Not only they fail to secure months' worth of supplies, but the pirates also lose some of their members, and one of them is Sesk, who got shot in the liver and is now on his last breath. He wishes to talk to Thorns, ask him why he didn't escape back when they were salvaging. Thorns said Sesk's situation back then reminded him of his own experience, helplessly waiting for death. But each time, Thorn is lucky to meet someone who helps. Rus and Sesk then ask if Thorns have a home or family. He said he doesn't have one. Then they ask where Thorns learned his swordplay and alchemy tricks. He said he learned it from his teacher. He lived with him for a long time, but eventually decided to leave, saying that he and his teacher don't see eye to eye, and living with him also made him safe. But he doesn't like it, saying that settling down and feeling safe can make one let their guard down. Hearing Thorns' vagabond lifestyle, Sesk teases him, saying that Thorns was really born to become a pirate like them. The next day, Thorns have a change of heart, wanting to help the crew out of their desperation and also satisfy his own curiosity. He agreed to fix the compass. Hana is happy after hearing this, then leads him to one of the ship's cabins, which turns out to be an alchemy lab that hasn't been used for many years. And here is where Thorns will have all the necessary equipment to fix the compass. Hana also gave Thorns some new clothes. This particular clothes was meant to be given to her previous alchemist, but he died during the clash against Iberian military. Hana also has another gift for Thorns. She takes him to a cave outside of the pirate base. Here she shows him a seaborn that is trapped here. It's revealed that before Hana, the crew was once led by a man named Cruz, Hana's lover, and also the pirate who founded the sword technique Thorns was looking for. Hana then explains more about this seaborn. Sometime after the profound silence that devastated Iberia, Cruz, Hana, and their crew work tirelessly to fend off the seaborn that roam Iberia, until they meet this seaborn that is really hard to kill. As a last effort, Cruz decided to lure and trap both him and Seaborn in this place. Cruz is then consumed and assimilated with this Seaborn. And thanks to that, this sea monster has learned Cruz's swordsmanship. Hana said she doesn't have the courage to kill it, so she issued a bounty for other people to kill this dark soul boss. But so far, none have managed to kill it. Some even ended up assimilated, and the Seaborn manages to learn their swordsmanship and use their weapon. So here, Hana offers her gift. Anytime Thorns needs a break from fixing the compass, he can come down here and observe the Seaborn to learn about the sword technique he was looking for. Moving on, we are back at the base, and here we see Elysium. We learned that some of the pirates that were captured by the Inquisition managed to escape, and they found Elysium alone wandering in the salt flat, and is now currently being sold as a slave. No one wants him though, which is interestingly disappointing to Elysium, until his price was really low and he was bought by Pasquala to become her guard and assistant. Meanwhile, we see Javier and Rus. Here we learned that the pirates that were captured actually didn't escape. They were intentionally released by the Inquisition to send a message to the rest of the crew. The Inquisition is willing to pardon most of the pirates if they hand over the compass and its thief. Rus, and even Javier, think it's best to do what the Inquisition wanted, seeing that the Inquisition is capable to beat them, and even blocked their routes to inland Iberia. Not to mention the option of going to the sea is risky. But while giving Pasquala to the Inquisition is an easy thing to do, the problem here is the compass. It will be near impossible to persuade Hana to hand it over. In the corner, Pasquala overheard this conversation, and she thinks that it's best to be on Hana's good side and perhaps gain her protection. So knowing that Thorns is looking for an assistant to fix the compass and that he is close with Hana, Pasquala tells Elysium to become Thorns' assistant and puts in a good word for her. So the next day, Pasquala introduces Elysium to Thorns. Both are surprised when they see each other, because until they meet here, Elysium has no idea where Thorns is. And Thorns also didn't expect Elysium to come this far for him. Shortly after Pasquala left the room, Elysium tells Thorns that he will contact Weedy to pick them up and leave this place. But Thorns explains that he plans to help the pirates fix the compass and go to the sea. So, being a good bro, Elysium decided to tag along and help Thorns the best he can. Few days have passed since then, but the work to fix the compass barely progressed due to how complex the corazonics inside the compass. And Thorns realized just how much his burden is. Many people have put their hopes in him. Some wanted him to fix the compass, others wanted him to fail or do nothing at all. Then, one day, Thorns is running out of alchemy material for his work, specifically a creature's sinew. Hana knows this, and knows the closest place to get some. Hana and Thorns then go to see the Seaborn from before. They are planning to kill it and carve its body for materials. Thanks to his time training and observing the Seaborn, Thorns manages to wound it just enough for Hana to say goodbye to Cruz, who has been assimilated with this Seaborn, and deal the killing blow. Later, as they return, they encounter Nene, who informs them that there's something serious happening at the base. Turns out Roos, Javier, and some other pirates are doing a mutiny. They are about to hand over Pasquala and the compass to the Inquisition. Luckily, Thorns and Hana came just in time to intervene. Hana is especially disappointed with Javier, who would have thought that someone she has taken care of since Little decided to betray her. Javier replies that this is for the sake of the whole fleet. Javier believes Hana has gone too far in her own selfish ambition, but also said that if Hana agrees to the Inquisition demands, she can still be their leader. But Hana makes it clear she won't surrender to any of the Inquisition demands. And what follows is chaos. Javier and Hana's side ended up in an argument that seems to never end, until Pasquala's golden tongue manages to persuade the pirates to give Thorns a week to fix the compass. And everyone reluctantly agrees. But considering Javier and Roos have gone this far, Hana exiled them, or at least until the result of that compass is revealed. Moving on, a week has passed, but Thorns failed to fix the compass and even destroyed it. Javier and Roos heard about this, so Javier decided to negotiate with the Inquisition. He will give the location of the pirate base so they can get the compass and its thief. He also offers the blueprint of the salt ship that the pirates are using, and even offers the Inquisition their help to build and operate it. But in exchange, he wants the remaining pirates to be spared and left alone, especially Hana. Silver is cautious about this, although what Javier offers is exactly what he wants. But there's no guarantee that Javier isn't trying to lead them into a trap. Anastasio, on the other hand, accepts Javier's demands despite Silver's warnings. At this point, Anastasio and Silver can be seen to be at odds. Anastasio knew Silver does not just want to get rid of the pirates, but also their ship technology and supplies, and even willing to let the pirates work under him with the reason that Silver can use people unbound to the religious dogma. So despite Silver might have wanted that for the sake of the townspeople, Anastasio views Silver as being greedy, which is against the church teachings. And now, seeing that the townspeople and the warriors begin to trust Anastasio more than Silver, Silver doesn't really have a voice to oppose Anastasio's plan to strike the pirates' base. Meanwhile, after hearing Thorns have failed to fix the compass, Hana secretly helps Thorns, Elysium, and Pasquala to flee from the base, in fear of what might happen to them next. But here, Thorns revealed that the compass isn't destroyed. The one that got destroyed is simply a replica. He was trying to replicate the Corazonics inside the compass before fixing the real thing. If he's unable to replicate it perfectly, then manipulating the real Corazonics can only lead to failure. And seeing that Thorns have failed to create a replica, he gives the compass back to Hana, saying that maybe she can find a better alchemist, and not to worry because he hasn't used all of the alchemy materials in case of this scenario happening. Hana is angry after knowing this, because it proves Thorns didn't give his all to fix the compass, like what he promised to her. Sometime after Hana leaves, Weedy arrives to pick them up. Thorns decided not to come with them, saying that his journey hasn't finished yet, and knowing he's safe should be enough to report back to Rhodes Island. But not long after that, Thorns can see the pirate bases on fire, attacked by the Inquisition, and he immediately rushed there without a second thought. Thorns arrived at the base and saw Inquisition forces had taken over the place. It seems the pirates didn't put up much fight, not just because they're ambushed, but they also believe if they don't resist and let the Inquisition take the compass, they all will be pardoned. Thorns planned to rescue Hana. He also met and worked together with Teach and about 20 other pirates that are still loyal to Hana. And surprisingly, Elysium, Pasquala, and Weedy also came here to help. They managed to find the unconscious Hana without alerting any guards. Apparently, she was drugged by Javier. Now, in order to escape, they worked together to seize control of one of their ships, La Conquista, the fleet's oldest vessel dating back to the Golden Age. But there's nothing golden about it. It's borderline obsolete. Then, Hana's crew manages to seize control and sails with that ship. However, Anastasio manages to sneak aboard and encounters Thorns in the ship's alchemy lab. To end this fight quickly, Thorns blows up the lab, Anastasio is caught in the blast and is thrown off the ship. With him gone, the ship can finally sail without a problem, and their next destination is the ocean, beyond the skeletal reef, and Thorns have one last chance to fix the compass. Meanwhile, the Inquisition doesn't give chase. They also knew Anastasio got caught in that blast, but Silver prevents his men from searching for him, saying that there's no way he could survive. He then orders his men to confiscate the pirates' supplies and round up the pirates as their prisoner. Back to Hana's crew. Their journey isn't easy. The crew have to conserve what little food and water they have, and they have to endure the salt-flat, dangerous cold night without proper heating. But still, they survive despite all odds. Some use this quiet time to recall the past or simply chat. Hana asks if Thorns ever seen the sea and asks if he's going to the sea with them, saying that Thorns will definitely make a good ship captain. But Thorns doesn't answer. Shifting to the Inquisition side, Silver has pretty much obtained everything he wanted after the attack, from supplies, ship blueprint, and pirates that are pretty much under his command. He is also quietly relieved that Anastasio is gone. Now, with all of these, Silver can move this town and its people out of their misery without someone with a stubborn, archaic faith like Anastasio to prevent him. But fate says otherwise. Anastasio miraculously survives and confronts Silver in the dead of night. Anastasio declares that Silver's greed and desire for his death is a sin. And then Anastasio killed him. Not long after that, Anastasio demands Javier and his group to help capture Hana's crew and bring back the compass, using the pirate's salt ship they acquired to catch up. Javier is still cautious about Anastasio, especially after knowing he just killed Silver, but the other pirates are eager to do the job after they were promised to be rewarded. Unbeknownst to them, Anastasio has no intention of sparing them once they are no longer useful to him. Back to Hana's crew, Thorns devoted all of his time to fixing the compass. But it didn't take long before the Inquisition and Javier's crew managed to catch up with their faster ship. And just before Thorns finished fixing the compass, Anastasio fired his hand cannon to La Conquista, wounding some of the crew, including Thorns. But the makeshift alchemy lab is also destroyed, shattering the compass components and destabilizing the Corazonics inside it. With no other choice to save the Corazonics from getting destroyed, Thorns quickly uses his own right arm as a vessel for the Corazonics, and after a painful process, the Corazonics has become one with his flesh. Meanwhile, the chase continues into the skeletal reef. Hana skillfully steered the ship and avoided the steam burst, while most of the pursuing ships are destroyed as they try to follow. But one ship with the named characters on board manages to survive, and they manage to board La Conquista. Hana takes the battle to the enemy ship, facing her old crew, including Javier. While those aboard La Conquista are fighting Inquisition forces on board, Elysium and Weedy are protecting the helm, while Teach got injured badly during the fight. Luckily, Pasquala manages to patch her up and somehow beat some of the warriors. Meanwhile, Thorns face Anastasio alone. He can sense that the Corazonics within his body pulsing every time a steam is about to burst nearby. It is as if the Corazonics understands his desire to lead his friends out of danger. It absorbs information from nearby environments and guides him by indicating the direction of the searing steam. Thorns then use this information to gain advantage against Anastasio. He leaps off the ship into a steam vent amidst their fight. Believing he is dead, Anastasio lowers his guard and savors this victory. But suddenly, Thorns, who have survived the steam vent thanks to the Corazonics, emerges from the steam and slices Anastasio's neck. Choking from his own blood, he struggles to keep his balance, and he eventually falls from the ship. After Anastasio's death, and Hana's crew proves to be a tough foe, the Inquisition warriors in Javier's group decided to stop fighting, and Hana tells them to follow La Conquista out from the skeletal reef if they want to live. After leaving the skeletal reef, they all finally can relax. Despite their actions, Hana acknowledges Javier and his crew's determination and wished them good luck. Javier then told his crew they can follow Hana to the sea if they want, while the rest will go back to the town. Some of Javier's crew decided to come with Hana, but some of Juana's crew also decided not to follow her to the sea, notably Elysium and Pasquala. Weedy also only follows them for a while to help fix and study this Golden Age ship. As both ships begin to part ways, Hana climbs the mast of La Conquista and dances amidst the sunset. The light adorns her dress with a beautiful golden glow, and everyone fixated their eyes on her as they sailed toward their future. Sometime later, we learned Javier's group managed to go back to the town. They also decide to sell their ship and then go to a different path. While Pasquala decided to go to Colombia after she heard the possibility of riches. As for the people aboard La Conquista, Weedy has left the ship and is on her way back to Rhodes Island. And Thorns, with approval of the whole crew, becomes the new captain, with Hana becoming his first mate. We also knew from his file that Thorns and his crew managed to reach the sea. The ship is also renamed to Cuna de Nene, and they are active in many different fields like exploration, scientific research, and connecting trade routes between remote Iberian settlements. And it looks like Thorns and his crew have become quite famous amongst the people of Iberia. At one point, the doctor and some Rhodes Islander also came to the ship. While Thorns is no longer a guard operator in Rhodes Island, but Rhodes manages to form a partnership with Cuna de Nene. They essentially become Rhodes Island branch office in the high seas. But what is most surprising is the meeting of St. Carmen with Thorns. Some senior Inquisition members suggest Thorns and his crew should be captured, but Carmen suggests forming a partnership instead. It's been so long since Iberia heard any tale of a sea captain. Perhaps his appearance is a sign that Iberia will go back to explore the ocean. But not everything is good news, though. At the end of the story, we learned Anastasio managed to survive. He dragged himself out from the skeletal reef to the salt flat, and there he encountered a seaborn, implied to be the same seaborn Thorns had fought. There, with their strong desire to live, they devour each other. They are believed to have been merged and will walk again on this land in perpetuity,